The Xbox full screen experience is starting to roll out to more handhelds that are already out there on the market. It looks like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 still has more players engaging with the game than Battlefield 6, which is interesting because Battlefield 6 had a massive launch for the game. So, what does this mean for Black Ops 7? We have our first details for Fortnite Crew, which you're getting with Game Pass Ultimate when you can access that. And then a couple of other things to go over, like EA in Saudi Arabia, and NetEase, and a studio that is closing down, as well as consumer spending between remakes and remasters. Some interesting information that has come out about that. But before we do get into it, if you do enjoy this content on a daily basis, keeping you up to date on the gaming news, make sure to hit the subscribe button, share this video if you think it's worthy for other people to check it out, like it, all of that great stuff. Let's get into the news. As we know, the Xbox full screen experience first launched on the ROG, Xbox Ally, and the Xbox Ally X. This is the first foray into the future of Xbox. I think this is the preview, and Sarah Bond, and I believe Phil Spencer as well, has already hinted at the future of what Xbox is going to hold, not only for their console, but for any other devices out there that are coming out that are going to be Xboxes, that they work in collaboration with, that they partner with to release an Xbox device. It's going to be this Xbox full screen experience. It's going to be the Xbox app. It is going to be making the PC and the console come into one where you can play everything, your console games, your PC games, and they're going to be trying to give you that console experience on all of these different devices, which I think is very important, especially going into the next gen before they actually launch the at-home consoles, to make sure that this experience is giving you the best possible usability and it isn't really having a lot of the issues that it currently does have, because the full screen experience on the handhelds is good. Still has a lot of work to do. There are a lot of bugs, and they will continue to work those things out, as they've already been giving updates. We already got an update a couple of days ago of things that they are improving upon. But it's not only going to be on devices that Xbox have collaborated on to create, like the Xbox ROG Ally and the Ally X. They're bringing the full screen experience to PC everywhere, to any handhelds that are out there. And they are starting here with the MSI Claw. This is the first device outside of the Ally and Ally X that is getting this. We've also heard that Lenovo Legion Go will be getting it, and Lenovo Legion Go 2, those devices will be getting it, I believe, in 2026. And you can basically, I think, expect this on every single PC handheld that is out there right now. But so it says here, MSI Claw handhelds have started getting the Xbox full screen experience first, seen on the ROG Xbox Ally. And specifically, they say here that following the initial launch of the full screen experience on the Asus ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X, today's preview to Windows insiders expands availability to additional Windows 11 handheld devices currently in the market. And designed with the console-style navigation in mind, the Xbox PC app paired with the full screen experience delivers a clean, distraction-free interface for handheld gaming. You'll get smooth task switching and optimized performance with background processes minimized and non-essential tasks deferred. So gameplay stays responsive and uninterrupted. And they're bringing it here to the MSI Claw models, with additional OEMs enabling their handhelds in the coming months. Specifically, we did hear from Lenovo. They confirmed in September, actually, that the Lenovo Legion Go 2 handhelds will also be getting the full screen experience in 2026. They believe here that it will be in spring of 2026. So sometime early next year, that's exactly when you should be able to experience it. But I mean, if you have an ROG Ally or Ally X right now, the Xbox ones, you are already getting the full screen experience and seeing what everything is all about. I've been using it now since it came out on the 16th, and it's much better than using Windows 11. Like, it's not even close. I would always much rather boot into the full screen experience than ever native Windows 11. It's one of my biggest drawbacks with handhelds before the full screen experience was using Windows 11. SteamOS is still miles ahead, and I actually really enjoy using SteamOS on handhelds. Xbox needs to get there if they want any chance to really make this a mainstream way that people do want to play. That also, I mean, if you're playing most of your games via Windows, you get both worlds, because you can load up a handle with just SteamOS, But you can also load up the full screen experience and then launch Steam into big picture mode, and you get that exact same experience there. So you kind of get both the best of everything with the Windows experience, which I think is the advantage that Xbox Windows are trying to play on, is like giving people the options of everything in one place, and then making the Xbox side of experience a place where you don't really want to leave. You have everything there. You can load your Steam games. You can load your GOG and Epic games as well. If you play anywhere, you have your Game Pass. And if they just make the user experience phenomenal, it will be very, very good going forward for the future of handhelds. But I also think for things like mini PCs or desktops that you connect to your TV, if you've ever done that and you're trying to play games in base Windows 11, you have to get a mouse and keyboard. It's very annoying. But if you can connect a controller up, full screen experience, get like a powerful mini PC connected to a TV, and that's basically a console. So many opportunities here going forward, which has me excited for the future with the Xbox ecosystem and for the next generation. But here we are. They are rolling them out here to the MSI Claw devices, and then we will see Lenovo Legion Go. And then I'm sure at some point they'll just make it open where anybody can download it and put it onto to their handheld. And you can kind of do that now, but I mean, actually given out here by Xbox and Microsoft with one of their updates. Now, this is the big year of Battlefield 6 versus Call of Duty, because Battlefield is back in full force. I mean, they did extremely good at launch, 7 million copies sold in just a few days. Tons of people are playing. I think their concurrent count on Steam hit like 500,000 people when it did launch. And you would think, yeah, this is giving Call of Duty major competition. Most people are actually playing Battlefield 6 now. They're not playing Battlefield or Call of Duty Black Ops 6. That is not the case. It's very interesting because I was looking at the numbers with Battlefield, and at first, before the game launched, I thought it'll be competitive. It won't catch Call of Duty. Then the launch happened, and I was starting to think, oh, it maybe has a chance. Like, this is very, very good. And now we're seeing this, and I just don't even know really what to think, because if more people are still playing Black Ops 6, you would assume that more people will be playing Black Ops 7 as well. It says here, despite the hype, Battlefield 6 fails to dent Call of Duty's reign in the US ahead of Black Ops 7 launch, but there is a big caveat. So these are the statistics from Circana, and they're giving the player engagement numbers and stuff. And they say here that Circana Executive Director Matt Piscatella has shared updates on the most played games in the US on a weekly basis. For the week ending October 25th, Battlefield 6 continued to hold strong as the most played game on Steam, ranking at the 6 and 7 spots on the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5 consoles, respectively. It's a strong hold, but notably, despite the fervor around Call of Duty and Battlefield going head to head this year, Call of Duty HQ retained its place as the number 2 game on Xbox and PlayStation, with no decrease to the existing player base that can be seen. Now, they do have some caveats here. Of course, the Call of Duty HQ does include Black Ops 6 as well as the Warzone, so the Battle Royale game. And the numbers for Battlefield 6 do not include RedSec, which is their free-to-play Battle Royale, which launched on October 28th. Either way, it does look like the numbers for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 are really not falling off very much, even with the release of Battlefield 6. Because, I mean, it's a strong fan base of Call of Duty. Even it'll be hard to pull a lot of the hardcore people away from that game itself. Black Ops 7 does come out on the 14th, and we will see how big of a launch this does get. Because you think about Call of Duty, the reality is Call of Duty has always been a console FPS game. It really always has been. There was always issues with it on PC back in the day. Now it's fine on PC, but for the longest time, it was always a console FPS game. Battlefield actually was always more of a PC FPS game. And you're looking at the numbers, they're going to have more people, I believe, on console for Call of Duty than they will on the Steam. So we won't know the exact amount, but because they don't have the Xbox and PlayStation database stuff easily accessible like we do see with these Steam numbers. It'd be kind of cool if they did show that stuff more, but we will see with the sales charts more than anything which game does sell more, even though it is jumping into Game Pass day one for the Ultimate users. Because even last year it was in Game Pass and it's still the number 1 selling game. I'm expecting that with Black Ops 7, but Battlefield has been extremely strong. Now, we did talk about yesterday about the game launching early. It looks like that will not be the case, although I thought that would have been a good idea if they launched the campaign early at the very least, but it's not happening. Activision has finally shut this down with all the speculation over the last number of days. They have come out here and said, yeah, this isn't happening. The game is launching on November 14th, which is only 11 days away here. But they say here, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launches on Friday, November 14th. There's no early access. There is no change to the release date. An Activision rep has confirmed to us, and they confirmed to Charlie Intel. So you're getting it all at once. I know for me, I'm playing the campaign right away. That's actually the thing that I'm more interested right now, simply because the multiplayer is very fun, but I've really enjoyed Black Ops 6 campaign. I don't have as much time to sink into multiplayer as I used to, so I never really get as good as I want to be. And I'm excited to see where they go with the story here with Black Ops 7. Generally, the Black Ops have very fun campaigns and cool stories to play through. So I'll be jumping into that right away. I will obviously some multiplayer on the side. And then once I'm done, I'll be going fully into Black Ops 7 multiplayer. One of the big perks for raising the Game Pass prices, which pissed off a lot of people, but I think it's actually relatively big if you look at the size of the player base for a game like Fortnite, and that is Fortnite crew. I actually saw a lot of comments as well as people they're saying that they're going to save money now because they don't have to pay Fortnite crew on the side, but it's not available yet. Now we have some more information as to exactly when this is going to be accessible to Game Pass Ultimate players, and it is going to be November 18th. And this is a full message that was sent out here saying, starting November 18th, 2025, Fortnite Crew is included as a perk for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. And for more information, please refer to Microsoft's updates to Xbox Game Pass blog post. So November 18th is when that is going to be happening. And basically, I believe this will be with the release of something else. I mean, they've talked about some big announcements coming in the future and exactly what that was going to be. They say here, Fortnite Crew subscribers get every premium battle pass, 1,000 V-Bucks each month, and a monthly crew pack that is exclusive to members. And normally that would cost $12 a month, but will soon be an extra bonus for Game Pass Ultimate players. I don't play Fortnite. To me, Fortnite Crew at this moment is pretty useless to my Game Pass Ultimate subscription, even though I'm still getting my value because I've been playing all of the day one releases that have launched into the service. But I saw the Simpsons thing drop, and that has actually piqued my interest. Will I download Fortnite for November 18th to see what these perks are all about? That it is included. I mean, it's a part of it. I might as well try it. I'll download it probably just to kind of see it, and then if I get hooked on the game, we'll see. Fortnite never really appealed to me, and I'm not sure why. I never gave it a shot or a try, but at the very beginning with all the building and stuff, I just kind of turned me off. And I know that it's not even, you don't even have to play building anymore with Fortnite, but we'll see. Maybe I'll give it a shot. A lot of people seem to love it a lot. All right, jumping over here, this is a pretty interesting piece of news when it comes to just the analytics and data of gaming and where consumers are spending their money, specifically when it comes to remakes and remasters. This has been a generation of lots of remakes and remasters, and you have to ask yourself, why are there so many? And it is because consumers buy them. Companies make money off of them, but where do they make more of their money? Off of the remakes or off of the remasters? Companies probably hope they would make more money off of remasters just simply because it probably cost a lot less to make those, just up-resing the resolutions and frame rates, basically just re-releasing a game and getting a huge new influx of cash for releasing a game where not a lot of development had to go into. Remakes, on the other hand, building a game from the ground up, especially if it's in a new engine, probably still costs a decent amount to make. Well, we have some info on this. This is from the Ampere Analytics. Consumers spend twice as much on video game remakes than remasters, according to the research. This is according to the research that from remasters and remakes released across 2024 and 2025, they've attracted 72.4 million players across Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam, and consumers spending some 1.4 billion on premium full games and microtransactions. And notably, Ampere found that across 42 titles examined, 15 remakes and 27 remasters released between January 2024 and September 2025, the global spending on average remake was more than twice of the average remaster at 2.2 times. But Ampere does acknowledge, while the data suggests remakes can rejuvenate classic IP and attract new audiences, they require substantially higher investment in development, marketing, and time. So yeah, I mean, that is the big kicker here. If you're a publisher, you're a developer, it's if you can make a remaster and sell it for tons of copies and make a ton of money off it, that's where there is a lot of money to be made, because the actual amount of costs that go into that are more than likely significantly less than any other type of games that do come out building games from the ground up, of course. And you see remasters, by contrast, offer faster turnaround, lower cost, but generally deliver less engagement. So they're looking at the spending here, and the remakes are absolutely killing it. They say here that the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, which reached a peak of 180 million in consumer spending and 7 million monthly active users across PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. That came so well with no marketing. They shadow dropped it. It blew up everywhere. I mean, it was on top of the PlayStation charts, on top of the Xbox charts, Steam, everything. Like, it did so good. That was a massive win there for Bethesda, a massive win for Xbox as well, releasing that with really no marketing budget behind it. And then they say here that as games and IP development costs escalate, publishers are increasingly rating their back catalogs for cost-effective remakes and remasters, and publishers deciding between a full remake versus a remaster have to balance franchise planning, investment risk, age of content, platform support, and more when choosing which route to take. Now, you take a look at this generation, and what comes to mind is PlayStation. I mean, they put out so many remakes, remasters this generation, Last of Us, and there's a reason why they did this. And the main reason, I would take a crazy guess here, is because they knew that they could get great margins from those games, that people would buy them over and over again, even if there really wasn't a massive change between each version of the games themselves. They have very strong IP. PlayStation gamers will buy them. If they put them out on PC, they access a brand new entry point for gamers that haven't experienced it before. So that's quick turnaround, makes them a lot of money, and they are able to fill in gaps while they're out there trying to develop their own new first party titles, which, to be fair, from the PlayStation first party perspective, have been few and far between here comparatively. If you look at what Xbox has had their output with their own first party games that have released, and even Nintendo over the last number of years. So remakes, remasters, do people still want them all the time? I think remakes have a place, especially if they're for older games. Like, you're looking at Halo Campaign Evolved. This game came out 25 years ago. That absolutely deserves a remake, and that will sell great, and that will have a whole new fan base that get onto the game because of that. Remasters, sometimes we're seeing remasters of games that came out last generation, which at that point I think is absurd. There needs to be a specific time period that passes before you even think about remastering or remaking a game, or it just doesn't really make sense. And as we go forward further and further into the future, game mechanics, the way games feel, they're almost not even going to be needed to be remade at any point, because they're getting even more modern than now in terms of the controls and everything is going to be, I think, relatively difficult. A lot of the things with older games that came out in past generations, they just didn't have all the technology, and a lot of the gameplay was not nearly as good as they could make it today. So it does make sense to remake those older games. But let's say in 2 or 3 generations from now, will we be seeing remakes and remasters of games that came out on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S? It'll be odd, because I don't know how big of a jump that will give those styles of games. But we'll see what happens when that time does come. If you are a fan of Pillars of Eternity, looks like a brand new turn-based mode is launching. Valve the Game tweeted this out. Greetings, watchers. We're excited to announce that a new public beta for Pillars of Eternity will open on November 5th for players on Steam and Xbox PC. This beta introduces a major new way to experience the original game, turn-based mode. So if you're a Pillars of Eternity fan, you want to play it again, you're getting a brand new beta here, November 5th, for the turn-based combat mode, which is pretty cool that they're adding this to the game itself. And we have a couple of things here. Even these big companies in China, even they're having issues here. They're having to close down studios after a couple of years. NetEase Games has announced that they are closing down one of their studios just 2 years after it first opened. And this is per the studio head Greg Street, a fantastic Pixel Castle, will be shutting down as of November 17th. They say, while there still is a chance we can secure funding after that date, it will depend on how much of the team remains. While we'd love to make our game, our first priority is to help our developers find employment, whether that's an indie studio, fantastic Pixel Castle 2.0, or at many of the other fine and hopefully stable game and tech companies out there. Formed in 2023 by NetEase, they had been working on a AAA fantasy MMO codenamed Ghost. So unfortunate for that studio, unfortunate for the people that are working there, obviously now out of a job. But it really just shows that the layoffs, studio closures, game cancellations is affecting everyone, the entire industry, no matter how big or small the company you're part of. Like everything is happening here, and it continues to go this way as we're starting to see the industry realized that the costs have ballooned too much. I think that's more so than anything. The margins are not there. And there's just an oversaturation of games for a lot of people who play black hole games that these types of games really appeal to. When you're making MMOs, you're making multiplayer games. It's very hard to pull people away from the current titles that they've already invested hundreds and hundreds of hours into. Finally, EA, as we know, they made that deal with Saudi Arabia. It hasn't gone through yet, but one of the biggest concerns is what's going to happen with the creative control of the games themselves. Will there be sweeping changes? Will it be for the better? Will it be for the worse? EA has said here they will actually be keeping creative control if the deal does go through. And this is in a new SEC filing, first spotted by Steven Totilo of GameFile. They've updated its employee FAQ to answer numerous questions. And in this specific question regarding the culture at the company, EA says that its mission and values will remain unchanged. It adds that the company will maintain creative control and our track record of creative freedom and player first values will remain intact. Then it continues and says, we will continue to be guided by our cultural values of creativity, pioneering, passion, determination, learning, and teamwork, and that the consortium is supportive of and committed to investing in our exceptional employees and our strong culture. I mean, that's what they say now. The deal hasn't gone through yet. Like it hasn't closed yet. They're going to say that. I mean, I would take that lightly because anything can happen once they go private and the deal has closed. Anything can happen behind closed doors. So we'll see what happens if this deal does end up closing off and being finalized. And if there are sweeping changes to it. Yeah, right now it's kind of on a hot streak, though, I would say. So I don't know how many changes they would want to make. You have Battlefield 6, which just dropped. So they're going to continue trying to ride that stuff. They have great sales with all of their sports games. I don't think they're going to change any of that. Where I think we're going to see changes come in is when you look at the smaller games that they do publish, like when they have their indie style of games that they do put out, that division there, less of those I foresee in the future when the deal does close, because they're not big money makers and they are more risky. And I think they will end up reducing risk. That's just my thoughts. But I'm going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.